President Joe Biden is projected to win Michigan's Democratic presidential primary comfortably, despite a significant protest vote over strong U.S. support for Israel in the war in Gaza. Mr. Biden won 80% of the vote, according to projections, but the uncommitted exceeded expectations with 13%. His campaign will pay close attention to see if that result in the key swing state will spread nationwide. Many voters have been angered by the U.S. stance in the Israel-Hamas conflict. Activists from the group Listen to Michigan hailed the size of the uncommitted vote, more than 100,000, as a victory. People were in tears at the organization's watch party as tallies were periodically updated. Former Congressman Andy Levin, who supports the uncommitted vote, told the crowd, "I take no joy in being here tonight. This moment is a child of necessity because people are dying by the thousands." The U.S. is a close ally of Israel, providing it with billions of dollars in military aid. Earlier this month, the U.S. vetoed a UN resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, while proposing a draft of its own, urging a temporary ceasefire. Many people, including in Mr. Biden's own party, want the president to take a much stronger stance against Israel's military campaign. On the eve of the Michigan vote, Mr. Biden said he hoped there would be a pause in fighting in Gaza by Monday, a statement that was not echoed by either Israel or Hamas. Mr. Trump is also projected to easily win Tuesday's Republican primary in the state, after what he called a great day. Trump projected to win Michigan primary over Haley results so far from the primary contests, which the U.S. political parties use to select their presidential candidate, indicate that the two men are on course to face off in November's general election in a rematch of 2020. Michigan is considered a critical swing state, which picked the winning president in the last two contests. It has the largest proportion of Arab Americans in the country, but Mr. Biden's support for Israel appears to have cost him support among that demographic. The war in Gaza began after Hamas's attack in southern Israel on the 7th of October, in which about 1,200 people were killed and more than 250 taken hostage. Israel has launched a massive military operation in the Palestinian territory since then, with the stated aim of eliminating Hamas. However, 29,974 people have been killed and 70,325 injured in the retaliatory campaign, most of them civilians, the Hamas-run health ministry in the Gaza Strip says. The huge toll has led to international pressure on Israel and calls for a ceasefire. Gaza residents surviving off animal feed and rice as food dwindles, Israel-Hamas war. Biden hopes for ceasefire by next week Tuesday does not mark the first time a significant portion of Michiganders opted to cast votes as uncommitted. Around 19,000 residents did so in 2020's primary and more than 21,600 won in 2016. In 2008, it was 238,000. After Barack Obama's campaign encouraged them to do so, because he chose not to be on the ballot due to party squabbles. But campaigners in Michigan have been organizing for months to send Mr. Biden a message of no ceasefire, no vote over the war in Gaza. At Salina Intermediate School in Dearborn, the BBC spoke to Hala, 32, who said she voted uncommitted. She did not want to vote for Genocide Joe, she explained, alluding to allegations made against the Israeli military during its campaign in Gaza, which Israel strongly denies. Hala, who declined to share her last name, said she voted for Mr. Biden last time, but was not sure she would do so again when the presidential election came round. Maybe if he calls for an immediate ceasefire, but he's not going to do that, she said. Other Democrats told the BBC on polling day that they remain supportive of Mr. Biden, including Kim Murdo, an office manager at a church in the city of Flint. "I voted Democrat. I personally don't have an issue with anything that the administration has done," she said. She added that separate concerns about Mr. Biden's age, 81, were not a deal-breaker for her. "I'd rather have someone in office that forgets a few things than a criminal," she said, referencing Mr. Trump, who faces federal and state criminal charges. Margaret One voted for Mr. Biden, too. She is mostly happy with the work the president has done, though said he had been blocked in some of his aims by Republicans in Congress. She said she wished the front-runner presidential candidates were younger and said if Nikki Haley beat Mr. Trump to the Republican nomination, she might get her vote. Ms. Haley, however, is yet to win any primary contest against Mr. Trump, a trend that continued on Tuesday. Like dozens of other states, Michigan has open primary elections, which means Democrats, Republicans, and independents were all able to cast votes, though they had to ask for a specific party's ballot when casting their vote. The state's remaining Republican delegates, who must be secured for a candidate to win their party's nomination, will be formally awarded later at a convention this weekend. During the present conflict between Israel and Hamas, the uncommitted movement gained endorsements from at least 39 state and local elected officials in Michigan, including Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Dearborn Mayor Abdullah Hamid. Ms. Tlaib's sister was the campaign manager for Listen to Michigan campaign, which aimed to score 10,000 uncommitted votes, the nominal margin by which the state was won by Mr. Biden in the last presidential election. Samra Lukman, an activist with the abandoned Biden campaign, said her goal was to oust somebody from office for having this many lives lost without calling for a ceasefire. Another woman, who did not want to be named, told the BBC she had even switched to the Republican Party over the Middle Eastern conflict. Senator Gary Peters from Michigan told reporters at a meeting arranged by the Biden campaign on Monday that the president understood voters' concerns about Gaza. However, the White House has been reluctant to row back its support, sending billions of dollars in military aid to Israel and 3 times blocking a UN Security Council resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire.